Good morning. I'm glad to be here with Dr. Gertrud Traud, the Chief Economist of Helaba. A short few questions for you after your wonderful presentation. Maybe just in summary again, provide us some insight into the growth outlook in Europe, maybe also in Germany compared to the US.
Talking about growth in Germany, it's really a big task because we haven't had growth for a couple of years now. In difference to the US, which has been quite strong in the last years, and Europe somehow in between. Looking forward, we expect some improvement in Germany as well, due to the fact that inflation rates are falling, increasing real wage income, real income growth, and meaning more consumption, but not as much as in the US.
Thank you so much. And the big topic here is interest rate policy in Europe, in the Eurozone, as well as in the US. You made a comment about a laggard reaction by the central bankers to the inflationary environment. Please elaborate a little bit on why do you think that was and what that means now in changes of rates going forward?
The problem is that central banks in the ECB and the Fed, also the Bank of England, were too late by hiking rates, and there is also too much. Because the reason they were too late was obvious. Inflation was strongly up, but inflation started to turn, and the central banks didn't realize that they didn't want it to be too loose, and therefore they overshoot it. And this had a negative impact, especially Germany is suffering, real estate markets are suffering due to this overshooting. And now inflation rates are down. The ECB realized that they have overshooted, and they started, and there will be more to come, but they will be very reluctant because their main job is to keep inflation down. And they have the fear that they could harm their reputation, that they are not good enough in fighting inflation. And therefore, there is more to come, but both the ECB and the Fed will always argue, we look at the data and not say forward guidance, we go down to XYZ. So it will be, in communication, a slow process, but I expect many steps in the coming quarters.
So will the steps mirror the intensity of the hikes? And where do you expect rates, let's say, with the ECB versus the Fed to be in a year from now?
So the ECB started, we expect another rate cut today, and we expect more to come down to 2.5% in the deposit facility, and we expect the Fed to start in September, and we expect rate cuts down to around 3.5% by mid-25. So then we would have both central banks in a neutral stage compared to that what we have right now, a very restrictive monetary policy.
But you don't foresee us moving back to the zero rate environment we had prior, maybe caused the aftermath of the GFC, structural changes in Europe and the US? You see a new higher normal?
No, the problem is, I think both central bankers realized that the zero rates, they felt great, were good for many markets, but it was a problem, and they will not repeat it right away. Not the same person will not repeat the same measures. So it will be a new normal, not the good old one.
Thank you, Dr. Traud, again for your insight and input and being here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me.